Hello YouTube and welcome back into the gaming cupboard for another video, and thank you to everyone who's been by. Thank you to everyone who's watched the video, come by and had a chat, left a comment. It's great. It's nice to engage with so many people after I've been off so long from doing a video. And yeah, I thought it's about time to do an update, tell you what's been happening, what's been what in the game room. And you know, it's going to be a short video. Not very much has happened in the game room but I thought I'd make a video anyway because I've been inspired. I've been inspired by Kieran over at Retro Reclaimer. So shout out to Kieran. I'll put a note to his channel in the description if I remember, which hopefully I'm not old enough and stupid enough to forget. So yeah, what have I been inspired by? So Kieran's been doing a little video challenge to himself, and quite a difficult one really. His challenge is to kind of save up from buying, selling, trading, what have you, from a £1 spend to actually get himself something really nice at the end of the year. I don't know what it is. I don't know if he said. He might have said and I completely missed it. But yeah, quite an interesting challenge to do that, because these days everyone's talking about kind of saving money. People are selling up, with good reason, I suppose. If people don't have the space, or they'd rather move towards other stuff, or got priorities really, because everything's going up, then it kind of makes sense to do that. And so as collectors, not all of us have loads of money to kind of just put towards games, although we do anyway. Let's be honest, if we have some spare money, we're probably going to put it towards games or something. Over food, there's always noodles. Anyway, the point being that can you actually save up and get a really nice item from just a £1 spend? And that's kind of what's inspired me to do it, because I'm thinking you have to kind of be really lucky straight off the bat to actually start this challenge really. Otherwise it's going to be a real grind getting kind of up towards there. And I think Kieran's had some pitfalls he's mentioned in his videos. Go over and watch them. I'm not going to do any spoilers for you, but I think he's had some stuff where he's thinking that he's on to something and doesn't necessarily go his way. And that's what I was thinking with things. You have to kind of really be lucky to find something for £1 in the first place, and then be able to kind of keep flipping that. As you get more money, it gets a little bit easier because you have more things you can buy. But if you're starting off with £1, it gets more difficult to kind of start that initial process. But getting towards the end of the year, you probably have quite a bit left over. Also, I'm very lazy, as you'll probably see. So Kieran's been doing this a couple of weeks, and I was like, do you know what? I will see if I can do something similar to him. I'm not going to do it exactly the same because it's difficult what you're doing there, and I think he's just doing it with cash. So with cash, you can't utilize things like CEX. Well, you can, but not in the same way. You wouldn't get the same amount of money as if you sold it on eBay and things like that. But with eBay, you've got the kind of cost of postage, wrapping it up. You've got to buy bubble wrap envelopes and things like that, and haven't always got the time to run into the post office. So I will be doing this challenge in a similar way, but I will be doing it with kind of CEX and a little bit of money if I can flip some things as well. And sometimes it's going to be the money's up, sometimes it's going to be the money's down, because I kind of have to see what I can get when I can get it, and I don't want to pass up a deal. But the whole point being to try and do it as cheaply as possible, and at the end come away with something really nice for very little. So I'm completely ruining his idea, but I'm trying to do it in my own way. So I hope it works, and I hope you kind of get that. Anyways, onto the actual challenge itself. So Kieran's been doing this a few weeks now, and I started doing it. I've been going around my local charity shops, and I saw a copy of the game Cards Against Humanity with the 5 expansion packs in a charity shop, and they only wanted £2 for it. So I jumped on it and bought it for £2. So I've already kind of broken the rule of starting with £1, but he's been doing it a few weeks, so I don't feel too bad about it. Anyways, so yeah, Cards Against Humanity, get it home. I didn't know anybody to play this game anymore, to be fair. I mean, there was a fad of it, there was the whole 50 Shades of Grey thing where everyone kind of jumped on it. It's oh, this is a little bit naughty. Oh, it says ball sack. And yeah, everyone would just drink lots of whine and just call themselves like a giant curled out dog shit or something. I don't know. They were just like get the most grotesque things in the world. Anyway, so I picked up all the cards, brought it home, and I thought, actually, for £2 I can probably make a little bit of money on this. I'll have a look on eBay, and probably some of them are sold about like £20, so I'll put it up there at an auction for like £20 and see how I go. Before that, I had to go through like these like 5-6 boxes of absolute filth and just sort through all the cards, because whoever plays it, like, you know, they don't put the cards back in the right order. I mean, what kind of like a world do we live in where people just pull all the cards out and just put them back in the wrong order? Like, absolute animals. The fact they're playing Cards Against Humanity probably says that they're animals to begin with. But yeah, so I had to go through like all these cards and sort them out, and they'd like, you know, fill them like all out against each other. So obviously, like, brilliant, like, Gene's prolapsed bumhole, and like I don't know, all things like that, you know, Rishi Sunak's like penis chin, I don't know, all crap like that. I had to sort through for about an hour to sort through these like thousands of cards. By the end of it, I was just like, I just don't want to see another foul thing written down in my life. But got to the end of it, sorted them all out, put them on eBay, put them on there with like an auction with £20 starting bid and postage on top. See how I go on with that. And I actually did quite well. I did better than kind of I expected to. They sold for a total of £37.66, and with postage on top, that was paid for by the auction, by the buyer. So after kind of fees were deducted from that, I got back about £35, I think. I haven't got the exact figures here, but like, I think pretty £35 is about what I got back from that. So from £2 I got £35 in my kitty, so I'm pretty happy with that. £33 like increase on my original £2 stake. So along with that, taking my original money, I have been going around charity shops looking and seeing what I can actually buy, what I can pick up from places. And I've done all right in charity shops of late. There's been a few games that I've managed to pick up and, like, you know, trade into CEX, because like I say, this isn't going to be a challenge just based upon what I can get in cash, because if I can get something and sell it for a decent amount on eBay, it's great. But if I pick up something for £2 and sell it for £5, I'm really not going to make very much money. It's going to be just annoying. And some of the kind of bits that I need or that I want potentially for this are bits that I can get through CEX. Or potentially what people can do is, if you go into CEX and you find something that's either mispriced because it's unboxed, boxed but it's sold as unboxed, which to be honest never happens in my CEX. I don't know how people manage it, but it does happen. And, you know, bits that you can buy in CEX if somebody's taken one in, and it's cheaper to buy in CEX than it is like to sell on eBay. So you can buy something from CEX that might be, you know, unusually rare or doesn't come into stock very often, and then flip it on eBay and make a bit of money that way. So that's sometimes a good way of doing it. So anyway, I digress from the story. So I've done all right in some charity shops the last kind of few days. I went into one the last weekend, one of my local charity shops, and they had some PS3 games for sale, and all wanted £1 for them, which is great. Problem being that PS3 games have come down an awful lot in recently. The prices at CX have absolutely crashed on it. However, if I can, like, you know, triple my like stakes, so if I can buy something that's £1, trade it in for £3 or better, then I'm pretty happy with that generally. And that's what I kind of managed to do with these games. So I've got three games from CX. I haven't got them here because I've already sold them. So I don't know if I can put a picture in it, if I can be bothered, but take me word for it. So I got a copy of WRC FIA World Rally Championship for £1, which traded in CX for £4. Lego Star Wars The Complete Saga, again for £1, traded in for £4. And Red Dead Redemption, which I got for £1, again traded in for £4. So from £3 I get trade credit at £12 from that. God, my maths is amazing, isn't it? So that all goes kind of in the kitty. So £3 down from my £30 left over from that. So not too bad, as I got £12 left, like back in vouchers that I can use towards stuff. Also, then the following week went out and there were some more games, again in a different charity shop this time, but they had some Xbox 360 games. And yeah, annoyingly, this charity shop, bit of a story to go with this one, annoyingly this charity shop is a cash-only charity shop. And they rarely, I say rarely, I think that's where I got Cards Against Humanity from, but I maybe had a couple of quid on me. But generally, rarely, they have very little in that I want. But they are actually quite good. If you don't have any cash with you, they'll say, ask them if I can hold the stuff there, or I just run over the road to a cash point, and they're absolutely cool with that, like just down the road and then come back a couple of minutes later. So I picked up a handful of Xbox 360 games. I picked up Lego Lord of the Rings on Xbox 360, Call of Duty Black Ops 2, and I got Peppa Pig on the DS, which was a bit of a fail, we'll get to that, and a copy of Nintendogs. And did I get any more? No, I think that's just some other junk that I traded in when I went to CX as well. So I picked up those 4 games, and for that, like £4. So I was like, I haven't got any money on me. Would you mind holding these? Just going to run over the road to the cash point. They're like, yeah, it's absolutely fine. And had somebody else with me, and they said, I'm just going to stay in the shop and just hang around and look. It's like, yeah, that's cool. I'll be back in a minute. And whilst I was kind of picking these games up and kind of having a look, there was this bloke kind of eyeing me from like the other side of the kind of bench, like looking at it, and then kind of came round after I'd left and like tried to go through what was there. And to be honest, I left some decent games. I think I left like a copy of White Label Die Hard Trilogy on the PS1 because I just have that game, you know, probably a couple of times. I don't need another copy. I was just getting things that I knew I could like flip, potentially get some money for, and the ones I knew I'd get a decent return on from like CEX. And as I've gone out to like the bank to get some money, came over to the counter with a woman where I was like, knowing that they were holding it for me, it's like, oh, how much for those? Like, absolute dick. I mean, there's probably people who try it, and there's probably people watching this video. Would you try it? Like, you know, if somebody's actually asked for things to be held, would you go up and say, oh, how much are those? Knowing that, you know, the person's just going to come back in a minute. Because if he had bought them and I'd come back, I'd probably lumped him one. But, yeah, violence doesn't solve anything unless they steal your games. Then it's personal. But no, fortunately, little old lady behind the till, lovely old dear. No, sorry, these are sold. So, thankfully, like for me, managed to come back and, you know, get those games. So yeah, £4 spend on those 4 games. And CX trade-in on those was Lego Lord of the Rings, £8 from £1. Can't fault that. Call of Duty Black Ops 2, again, £1 into 8. Peppa Pig, which I went for. I thought this actually had a bit more money because the Wii one I thought had a little bit more money, but I only got £1.60 back for that, so absolute fair. You could have had that one, prick. And lastly, Nintendogs Dalmatians and Friends, or Dalmatian and Friends, which was £1 into 5. So that's what, 16, 21. Whoa, doing maths live on like thing now. £22.60 or £3. Not bad at all. I'll take that like any day. So, traded those things into CEX, and so from a £7 cash spend, I got back a voucher for £24.60. I think that's right. So yeah, from £7 to £24.60. So that would take my kind of price down from what I got from the £35. What's that? 7 or 35, £28. £28 left on that. So I think I'm actually doing quite good here. I can get some like money towards some CX. Maybe I can get something in there, like put that on eBay, sell it towards something else. But actually, it then came to me kind of what I wanted to do with this money, because you've got to have a plan. If you don't know what you're going to do with the money, you just accumulate loads of like cash and it just gets wasted on little bits here and there, and that's not really what you wanted to do. So I was browsing through things, like looking at what I got in my collection. I thought, actually, do you know what? I'm going to get myself and modify and upgrade and do all the other bits with a Dreamcast, because you can get like optical drive emulators now for a Dreamcast. They used to be quite cheap a few years ago. They've now, people have like cottoned onto it. It's really gone up in price. But I've got a nice collection of Dreamcast games over there. There's some that I want that I really can't afford at the moment. So I'm just having to, you know, decide what I can do with stuff, and also the amount of space I've got in here, because I've really kind of hit the point of, not the point of no return, that sounds wrong, the point of like I can't fit any more games really in this room. I've got to decide what I want, you know, move some on, box some up, like maybe loft some, maybe sell some, just decide what I want to do. So at the moment, the idea of having optical drive emulator systems that I can just plug in and play whatever I want whenever I want is actually a really nice viable option to me. So with that in mind, having a look through eBay, seeing what I can find in the way of Dreamcast, because the Dreamcast from CX, even kind of a discounted one, is now 80 quid. So that's gone up in price kind of a tenner, I think, since, you know, last year when I last looked at them. And I didn't really want to pay all that, because I'm sure that I could have picked one up from like Car Boot or something like that for relatively cheap. So I was looking through eBay and I came across an auction. There was one that didn't have very good pictures on it overall, I'd say. But it had a picture of Dreamcast, it had all the cables, no controller. Read the description and it said that the Dreamcast, spares and repairs, it's not reading games. So I messaged the guy, because it just had a picture at the top of it, and said, you know, what's the details underneath? You have to have the Model 1, I think, to do the mod on it. And does all the controller port work? Because you're not selling it with a controller, might as well ask. And he's like, no, the controller port's fine as far as I know. I haven't used it in a while. It's just that it doesn't read games, so I'm selling it off. I'm keeping the controller for when I get, you know, another one, which I'm hoping to get in the future. And I was like, okay. So I thought about it, and it was up for about £45 all in, I think, was it? I've written a note of it down here. £45.25 posted, which I thought, you know, that's not too bad. That's about half what CEX will charge me, and a little bit of postage, so not too bad. So I ordered it up, and it came like yesterday to me. So yeah, Dreamcast here, nice and kind of tobacco yellow. You might be able to tell from the side. You probably wouldn't, because the lighting in here is not great. You might be able to, yeah, you can kind of see there, because the what do you call it, modem, that's the word, modem, we have routers these days. Modem's like the colour it kind of should be, and the rest of it's kind of the nice tobacco-y yellow colour. So yeah, we wrapped it up really well, to be honest, all the leads there, and I used a bit of my CEX credit to pick up a controller from them, which I had in my local store. So a tenner down on the controller, and £45 down on the Dreamcast. So like I say, it's not going kind of like as it should at the moment, because the whole point was not to spend money, but I've ended up spending money. However, we'll get to that in a minute. We'll kind of tot it up at the end, I suppose. So yeah, first thing I did, plug this on, plugged in the controller, make sure it'll all work. Controller's working absolutely fine, no problems with that. I thought, you know what, go on, I will try it. I'll try it, put a game in, see if it works. And you know what, it flipping well does. So for 45 quid, I've actually got myself a fully working Dreamcast. So really happy with that. So I took it apart, put it on my bench, on my desk here, got myself a drink, sat down, and then just knocked the drink over all over the system. So yeah, it probably doesn't work anymore. Well played. To be honest, I think it's going to be okay. I think it only started getting sort of underneath it a little bit, and maybe over the controller port. So I put it somewhere where it could dry. I'm not going to plug it in for a little bit, just in case, because yeah, I don't want to risk it. But happy to have had a working Dreamcast. May still be working Dreamcast, who knows. I'll get it working hopefully again, and yeah, all good for that price. So yeah, not too bad really, I don't think. I'm going to put that down out of the way. Okay, so have a little tot up of what I've actually kind of got off the back of this now. So from the £2 original spend I had for Cards Against Humanity, flipped that on eBay for about £35, meaning profit of £33 off the back of that. Pretty nice. Minus the £7 I spent on games, still left with £28 in like plus on that. With the games, like the 7 games that I got and traded into CEX, I traded them in for a voucher for £34.60, and then I used that to buy my controller for the system for £10. So voucher wise, £24.60 off that. Next we'll go on to the Dreamcast. So well, I say £45.35 that cost me. So after the £28 leaves £17.35 in the negative, so £17.35 down, but I still got £24.60 in voucher, so that's about £7.25 I think in the plus, which I'm not unhappy with, to be honest, at this stage, because I still need things like a VMU for the Dreamcast, got to save games and things like that. And although I'm kind of in the negative, like with cash a little bit, it's turned into CEX vouchers, so I haven't like lost out. I could still buy something from CEX and flip that, you know, to eBay and kind of make my money back that way, but that might sell me a little bit short. So I'm not going to like rule eBay out of that. And I think that's pretty good, considering that like I've got all that and I'm actually still up for, you know, money to go for vouchers and things like that, because there'll be other things I want. So yeah, that's been my challenge so far. A little update on that. Most of the bits that I want to buy, I'm going to have to get from probably somewhere like China, AliExpress. Either that, you can pay more and get them from eBay. In this country, there are other bits that you can get for it, like the kind of fan mod and things like that. But the main ones are going to be kind of the SD card, the optical drive emulator, you know, power supply. Mod the kind of controller board, because those things, if you blow the fuse in that, then none of the controllers work. Massive flaw in that. And the battery as well in there. If the battery goes, you can't set the clock or anything like that, it won't remember it. So a few little things to kind of get off the back of that. But I think a pretty successful first kind of few weeks trying with this, and I've got something to kind of show for it. Not exactly in the way that Kieran's intended, but I'm hopeful, you know, with car boot sales coming up, the weather getting better, keep plugging away at the charity shops, I will be able to get some more money towards this system. So yeah, that is it. That is my little video, which has probably gone on far longer than I intended it to, but I hope you've enjoyed it. If anyone else is inspired by this, then, you know, get involved. The more people the merrier. Nice to see what other people do, see their trials and tribulations. If they get into a fight over a Peppa Pig game at a charity shop, then yeah, I'll definitely be up to that, and any live footage will be great. But thank you all for watching. I'll keep you updated on it, and I'll see you all soon. So take care, and bye bye for now.